Armada Book 2 Chapter 6, The Marinties Part 3. After a few weeks, Captain Ono has returned from the Inky homeworld with the parts for Roger's ship and brought 3 more Vinta ships and 5 large transport ships with him. The additional ships are for the French, Canadians and the British, Olive told Andrew. Alan said that our new mission is to go back to Earth and do some recruiting for our small armada. Olive, did they bring all the parts we may need? Not all but enough. We also need to pass by the Slander planet to pick up some stones based on the same mission statement from General Alan Cook. Andrew, why are we picking up some stones? Then deliver them to planet Los Angeles? Those are diamond, huge amounts. They probably can't TP them out. That's what those 5 transports are for. Andrew said. I have uploaded the data from the other ships. General Cook left the Inky homeworld with 20 ships to a planet called Batter to look at the diamond in the area. The Inkies have a huge demand for diamond and Batter must have a lot. Yes, I know about Batter. I heard the diamond there are also huge. When do we leave? We leave in 3 days, Andrew. Ellie beamed in front of Andrew and Olive. Sir, I heard we would be going to planet Los Angeles, Ellie said. That is correct. Why? Oh yes, your folks are there. If it's okay with you, sir, we can split the Armada in 2 so we can leave now and the rest can follow later in 3 days. I think that's okay if 5 of the ships are prepared to go. They are prepared as always. Olive said. Then we go immediately, tell Roger, Captain Ono and Captain Jackson to stay with 2 of the new ships. Let's take one of the new ships and all the transport ships. Thanks, Ellie, good call. No problem, I have to go back to the lab. In 6 days, the ships arrived at the Slander planet. They saw a newly set up mining operations in the area and thousands of people. A small housing complex and a military base were at the foot of the hill beside the mines. Do you see any Slanders in the area? None on this continent. Ellie appeared as a hologram. Sir, we are ready to try our new beaming technology improvement the Inkies have brought with Captain Ono. So that's why you want to get here fast. You should have told me you had a new toy. You could have just asked Olive to talk to Tom about these things. Okay, I miss the days when we talked directly about things you know, like who to kill and how. Ellie laughed. General Man, what the toy does is that it beams objects from one area to another like a crane or a heavy-duty TP, but this time we focus on the object, determine its extent and encapsulate it in a bubble and transport it over some distance. We do that all the time, we have taggers, you know. Not if the item is miles deep underground and you cannot visually determine its extent. The taggers cannot burrow deep underground and tag it. The idea is to beam it in a place where we can tag it. That toy can be very useful in mining all sorts of items. Yes, the Inkies have been developing this technology improvement for more than a decade because of their huge requirements for metals, diamond and other stuff. And I presume General Cook has the same capabilities also. Olive, let's go over to Ellie's. When they got there they saw Tony and Gadden TP in. Andrew looked at Ellie's hologram assistant and, you must be Tom, you do look familiar and movie star-like handsome. Andrew said to Tom. This is Rami, the head Inky scientist in our ship, and he has identified a stone to try the new toy on. Ellie said. Do I have an Inky scientist on our ship, Olive? Andrew whispered. No, Ellie gets all the scientists, we get the military officers. Rami nodded and, thank you Ellie, we have identified a target stone and we will beam it on the surface nearest to its location. He showed a hologram of the stone floating and rotating in front of the group. Rami signaled a Mac and after a few seconds the hologram suddenly changed to a surface area with the stone on it. That is so neat. The Macs will tag the stone and we can transport it in our holding area below. Ellie said. Seems like a simple enough operation. How large is the stone? Tony asked. 91,260 metric tons. Rami said. What the? That's not a stone, that's a mountain of a diamond. Andrew exclaimed. It is only 30 feet high and 43 feet across in its largest. Rami said. So from now on we call anything around 100,000 metric tons a stone. Tony said. Ellie was laughing answered, yes, up to 100,000 metric tons, more than that would be a rock. And a rock would be up to? Andrew cared to ask. I don't know, we are concentrating on stones first before we try the rocks. Ellie said. The Macs have tagged the stone and are ready to transport. They're transporting now. Let's all go down and look at the stone. Tom, please. Ellie said. The group was transported in front of the stone at the holding area. This is so large. Andrew said as he held out his hand and touched the diamond. So we get our holding areas full of these stones and bring them over to planet Los Angeles. Tony asked as he looked at Ellie. Yes, from there the Max processes these into useful sizes. We fill in the 5 transport ships with the processed diamond and send 3 to the Inky world and 2 to the Mac world. The rest will be stored. Who will protect the transport ships? Andrew asked. They are all cloaked, so no need for security ships. The transport ships will have a small contingent of Marines and Macs to react to anything if at all. Ellie said. How long until we fill all our bellies with the stones? 2 days, Andrew. Rami answered. General Man, I think we should go down to the planet and nosy around. Tony said. Good idea, tell all the ship commanders and the crew to nosy around as well. Olive, come with us. I know you are getting bored, Andrew. There is a lake south of the mines and I scanned it and saw it's teeming with fish. I know you are an avid fishing fan, so... Let's go, Tony, come with us. Let's ride one of those small landers to the lake. Andrew said. I had some of the crew devise a few crude fishing poles that you can use. I am beaming them inside the lander now. Good, Olive, you're really good. Let us go. They were able to get a good spot and in less than an hour they have caught a sizable bunch of fish. They cooked the fish right there and ate them. This is good fish. My hats to you, Olive, for your discovery. Tony said. This is a good way to spend time on a distant planet. Andrew said. Soon they were joined by Gadden, Ellie, several scientists and crew, Max and Inkies. I believe we have enough here for all of you. But you have to cook your own. Tony told them. Right, cook your own fish. But here, Ellie, you can have this. Andrew said. The Inkies are not used to eating fish, they are predominantly vegetarians. Very few of them eat meat, and if they do, they eat birds and small animals. Olive explained. Okay, then teach them how to fish so we can have some for the other crew members. Eric said. This is really good fish. Large, meaty, tasty and almost sweet. My compliments to the chef. Well, that's the last fish for you, the next one you have to cook yourself. Andrew said. Ellie smiled and, I'm full. Andrew looked at her thinking she must be lazy to cook. The other crew members did not waste time talking but went straight to eat their share. After an hour they saw some vehicles coming up from the direction of the military base. Good afternoon, sir, my name is Colonel Jenny Phillips, commander of the base at the mines. You must be General Man, sir. She and her group snapped a crisp salute. Good afternoon to you too, Colonel. This is Major Ellie, Colonel Gant, Gadden and the gang. What can I do for you guys? Sir, I just want to introduce myself and my staff. She proceeded to introduce her group including the Max. And that person approaching us from afar carrying a box, she's my first officer, Captain Tiffany Hyru. Philip said, and, sir, it is an honor for us to meet your group. If there is anything you need, just let us know. Maybe later you can give us a guided tour of the base and the village. Do you have a commissary, Colonel? Tony asked. Yes, we have, and they're open right now. I guess we need some basic supplies. Anyone for some shopping? Ellie asked. Nobody was moving, so she sat down. Okay, maybe later, Colonel Phillips. We can have the store open until you can come and shop. What have you got there, Captain Hyru? Andrew asked. Beer and wine, sir. If you don't mind, sir. Sorry I was late, Colonel Phillips. You have a good first officer. Colonel Phillips studies the enemy and the battlefield and mobilizes fast and provide instant solutions to the issues at hand. Andrew said. You're good, Captain Hyru. Ellie followed Andrew's line. My kind of first officer. Okay, let's open these up. Gadden, what would you like? Tony asked. Beer would be good. Tony threw a beer can to Gadden. Andrew helped himself with a large bottle and some plastic cups. Here, Ellie, he hands Ellie a cup, opened the wine bottle and poured her a large one. I have some more in the vehicle. I also brought some snacks, ice and water, if anyone cared to help me get them down here. Some of the Inkies volunteered and they left for the vehicle. General Man, your reputation precedes you, sir. GX1 is the best among the best. When we found out it was your group heading to our small base, everybody was excited. We would be honored if your group can have dinner with us at our mess hall. Phillips said. Thank you, Colonel. Go easy on the reputation bit. We are just doing the best we can under the circumstances, and sometimes we feel we did not do well enough. Not a boring day after all, huh, Andrew? Olive asked. Ellie looked at Jenny and, Colonel Phillips, I see you still carry the M2S and M3S. Tom, beam some of our plasma weapons to their armory. Make sure they have enough small and long ones. Tom appeared and, yes, Ellie, I would also give them extra diamond power packs. I will also try to get a plasma cannon off our ship and on the ground for them. Captain Hyru looked at Tom. Wow, you have your own hologram assistant and he's cute like the famous movie star my mother loves so much. I know your group came out with the plasma weapons and we are excited to have them. You have to be very careful with those weapons. I recommend you all go through a training program on how to handle them. They're really very powerful. Tony said. Colonel Phillips, how long have you been here? Andrew asked. A little over 3 months, sir. Did the slanders give you any problem? None whatsoever, sir. I have not even seen one in all our patrols. We are being transferred to Planet Los Angeles next week, sir. As soon as the second group of your ships arrive, our replacements will be coming and we will go with the other ships to Planet Los Angeles. Unless, of course. Unless what? Ellie asked. I know you're on a recruiting mission, sir, and we would like to help. Bye? Andrew asked. Hyrule looked at Andrew and, sir, starting with ourselves, then we can get some fellow officers from the Air Force Academy in Colorado Springs, sir. You have my ears, Captain. Air Force is the key word. You're good, Captain. Let's talk about this when we see each other in Planet Los Angeles. Andrew said. The 2 days eventually turned from boring to eventful for Andrew's team as the base personnel and the village gave them an impromptu dinners, lunches and an even breakfast. Andrew looked at the planet from his bridge and, a few months ago, we were there liberating the planet and wanting not to hurt other species. Now we have a permanent base to get the diamond out. Yes, and the mines were really nasty, smelling of death and horror. Times move faster than we think it does. Ellie said. Yes, and it's time to leave. Andrew said. In another 6 days they arrived in Planet Los Angeles. From space, the ships beamed their cargo to the warehouses waiting for their loads. Andrew, it will take us another 3 days to replenish our stocks, then we'll have to wait for the other ships. Olive said. Can you beam me to Tim Rivers' office, please? Andrew was beamed just outside the door to Tim Rivers' office and he encounters the MAC secretary. I guess you can come in, General Man. She opened the door and Andrew walked in. He saw Ellie already there with Tim and Elaine. Hi buddy, I see Ellie beat me to it. Ellie is telling me she has a surprise for me. Can you tell me what it is? No. I mean, I don't know about any surprise. Hi Elaine. Ellie looked at him with a sharp look. Andrew just moved over to give Elaine a hug and a kiss on the cheek. Tom, beam us to General Man's bridge. Tom did just that and the group found themselves looking at empty space. So where is it? Tim asked. Tom, please. Ellie said. Tim saw a ship in front of them with his name on it. USS Tim Rivers, he said out loud. I told her it was a good name. Ellie embraced her dad and then her mom. Daddy, that is the most advanced ship we have ever encountered. I turned it into a science ship and I would like to leave it here with you, that is if General Andrew Mann agrees. My thoughts exactly. In fact, I would like to leave one other ship to keep it company. Both ships will make this planet their base station. Timmy, the ship is yours with its crew, but Ellie and Eric are in my team. I understand, Andrew. Darling, you have made me very, very proud. Let me bask in the moment, Andrew. He walked the bridge to take a look at the ship in front. Tom is the ship's holographic image. Tom appeared and introduced himself to Tim and Elaine. Elaine looked closely at Tom. You look just like the real Tom. I figured. This ship also has its own hologram that Ellie named Olive. Olive appeared and introduced herself to Tim and Elaine. You look just like Tom's ex-wife. Elaine said. Wait a minute, when did you change your image, Olive? Ellie asked. Andrew told me to research on Tom and I showed him the images of the wives and he picked this face. That is so funny, Andrew. You never lose your touch. Elaine said. You know, Elaine, you can have your students use this ship as part of their training. This is so perfect for you. You can be its captain since you head the university. This is so you, Tim, something in your name that your wife uses. I don't get what you mean. Tim said with a pretending face. It's safer if I don't explain. Let's get back to the house. Andrew, please come with us. Tom, please. The group found themselves in the small house Tim and Elaine calls home. Welcome home, dear. Andrew, this is our small home. Elaine said with a welcome gesture. It is small, but I guess there's only the two of you. Andrew said. Come, Ellie, let me show you your room. Andrew, we need to sit down and talk. Let's go outside. Tim said. This place is beautiful. Andrew commented. Thanks. Remember you told me to speed things up. Well, I have been trying hard. Well, I saw the place is bustling with activity. It seems the developers are going full steam. Yes, they are, and their target is 100,000 homes in 1 year, which is a lot. The military is also building a bigger base under the mountain, good for 50,000 men. What we need are industries, large industrial centers. The developers built an industrial center first off, but we have not attracted any investors to take advantage of the new technologies. Don't you think the housing should be underground or cloaked at least? Everything here is cloaked, so no issues there. It's just that we need to have industries. There are millions of Macs here. Why don't you integrate their economy with ours so the scale is bigger? Look at what they need and what we can have them need from us. I have a cousin that works for a marketing company. Let him study the economic needs or demands of this planet and plan accordingly. There are around 20 million Macs scattered all over the planet in maybe more than 2,000 villages, so you can never see them congregate in cities. They do not have a city big enough for us. If we have the TPs on Earth, our cities will be more dispersed. They have no need to congregate to create larger villages because their travel time is almost zero. This is good for sellers or distributors. We just need to create the demand. Maybe there is, we just don't know. If my cousin can tell us, then we can react properly. I understand, Andrew. Look, I know you're a smartass and sometimes you do things instinctively without thinking, and often you're correct, sometime not. Well, I can think for myself, thank you. One of the new things we need is to create the new small arms Ellie and her team invented, the plasma pistols, long arms, and cannons. I will have some retired general buddies that I can offer the business chance to have the go at it. Can you lend them the seed money? I will give them the money and the place to produce these weapons. Do you know how much all the diamond you brought are worth? Let's say you remove the diamond that we will be sending to the Inkeys and the Macs, we will still have over $10 trillion in storage. If we sell these on Earth, say $500 million a month, we can create any industry we want here on this planet and not even sell 1% of the diamond stock. And I don't even know if the Earth can absorb this much diamond. And that is just one shipment from the Slander's planet. We have to think in barter trade terms. But we still need the population mass from Earth to kickstart this planet. Why don't we just kidnap the 60 years old and older? Tim said. You know, you have something there. Let's say we beam up these old-timers and beam them back in the same night without them knowing about it. Of course, we have the medics fix them up a bit. What will happen is after a month, the old-timers will feel stronger and would be requiring some active activities. Then we offer them work, say as hotel workers in some faraway land for the government. We make them sign these non-disclosures because of the nature of the government hotel assignment. They would apply and we would beam them up and explain to them what had happened. I am sure, all would agree to leave the Earth, especially if they see more oldies are here already. Of course they have the option to come back anytime they want to, but their residence would be here. We can have them work at the factories and have them earn some money for retirement. Exactly how I thought about it last night. We have the same mind, my friend. Yes, we do, Tim said. You know what, Timmy, I will let Olive and Tom do the thinking for us. Olive, Tom, where are you guys? I'm here, Andrew. Tom said. Olive appeared. I am here, Andrew. What do you think of our plan? Can it work? I'd say 78% probability of success for the old-timer plan given what I know now. I would agree with Tom. Study the Macs here on this planet and determine what they use now, what they need now, and what they would need in the future. And tell us what we need to do to satisfy those needs. And while you're at it, if we want to produce the plasma weapons, what would we need? How much would we need, and how long before we can produce the weapons? I will need Gadden to connect to our collective console so we can look at the Macs here. You have my permission to ask him. I will work on the plasma project and I will give you a detailed report tonight. The information on the Old People project, I need to connect to the Earth Mac Collective to see the numbers so I can give you a more realistic number. I would have to ask Gadden for the same favor. Hey, I'm impressed. Technology, huh? See, Timmy, what I learned with these guys is that I only need to ask and ask properly. Imagine we could have avoided wiping out over 100 ships had we known we have ship towing capabilities. I forgot to ask. You still turned out a hero in that one-sided encounter. The point is we snuffed out a lot of alien lives. You know this, after what we went through together in the war, we should be the last to kill without an absolute necessity to do so. Let's get some beer. I brew my own beer now. Andrew showed some surprise. Let me have a taste. Tim led him to a chest freezer outside the house and got some beer in a bucket. The two spent the whole night together talking about old times, friends, and intergalactic plans. Often Tim's voice would rattle the quiet night in the planet. It's a good thing the next neighbor is a mile and a half away. Andrew sometimes would emphasize a point and spoke louder than Tim. Early morning, Elaine found Andrew sleeping on the sofa. She proceeded to cook breakfast, and as soon as the bacon smell permeated the air, Ellie ran down in her pajamas and joined her mom in the kitchen. In less than an hour, breakfast was on the table. Go wake up your dad, sweetie. I'll wake Andrew up. Tim and Ellie got to the kitchen together. Good morning, Andrew, Tim said. That was some beer last night, Timmy. Daddy, how much did you drink? I was able to brew 10 gallons, so that's more than 110 bottles, and we finished more than half of that. Maybe 35 bottles each. Timmy, you have never drank that much beer since you were in college. Elaine said. What's up today, Mom? I have to go to the university to work. Hey, why don't you come with me so they can see a real Starship officer? I can have all the students in the hall and listen to what you can tell them. What will I say? Anything is music to their ears. I need to go to the ship and dress up in my GX1 uniform and bring over Tom and Olive. Andrew and I would be at my office the whole day. No drinking while at work, Daddy. They all had breakfast and Andrew beamed to his ship to freshen up, and in an hour he is in Timmy's office with Tom and Olive. Tim started by introducing his friends. Hi Andrew, this is Danny, Rod, and Jimmy, the planet developers. Danny is married to Julia Bird, the Secretary of State, and Rod and Jimmy are the architects of the planet. They do everything from roads, to utilities, housing, industrial parks. It's nice to meet you, Andrew. Timmy has been telling stories about you and your missions. Danny said. It's also about his daughter Ellie, who is my science officer. Hey, I know Ellie back when she was a young girl. Right, my daughter called from the university and she and her friends were excited to hear her talk about her experiences as a starship officer. That's my girl. See, it's about his daughter, not me. Andrew said. So Tom, Olive, what's the verdict? Tom and Olive appeared. I have a list of items they use, need, and will need listed by name of the max. We can provide some of the items from Earth and these items will make their lives better. The value of all these items and services would be around $10.258 billion per month. I have a list of names of the people from Earth who would need to come over to provide the services. This tablet holds all the information. How about the plant, Tom? Andrew asked. The smallest best scale should need 5,800 workers to produce the small plasma weapons and another 880 to produce the cannons. The factories will produce 300,000 small weapons and 500 cannons per month. The value of purchases would be $48 million per month. I have a list of industries on Earth, the max, and from the Inkeys who can provide the best parts for the lowest costs. We can pay the Inkeys in diamond, but since this volume is too small for them, they will just give it for free in exchange for the weapons. The details are all in this tablet. What about the old-timers? The project has an even higher probability of success at 96.32%. Does this mean 96 out of every 100 person will stay here? Tim asked. Tom answered, yes. Then it's a go then. If you think about it, 7,000 old-timers for the weapons factory will not be missed on Earth. How about workers for us? We need engineers, office workers, laborers, heavy machinery operators, welders, the whole gamut of building almost anything. Tim asked. How many people are we talking about, Tim? Andrew asked. I'd say 30,000 would be a comfortable figure. Danny answered. Danny, Rod, Jimmy, why don't you ask these two, Olive and Tom, to give us a list of exactly how many people you need per skill set and give us a list of who to approach on Earth? Andrew said. We can do that? Danny asked. Tom and Olive are not real people? Jimmy asked, surprised. Andrew explained, no Jimmy, Olive is a hologram of my ship and Tom's is Tim's ship. It's like talking to the ship and its intelligence. So that's why they look so familiar, like the actor and his ex-wife. You're right, Rod. They do look like that couple. Tom can prove very handy then. Rod said. So offhand you probably need 30,000 more people, the factory another 7,000, add their wives and families, we're looking at 80,000 people. Andrew said. That figure is still too small. Let's say we create a factory that builds smaller ships. What do you call them, Andrew? Tim asked. Jintas and Sabers. Tom, you have data on the Inkey production facilities, can we set up the production facilities here? Tom answered, yes, and it will be good for you. If we have the Inkey knock down a factory in the Treadle Galaxy and bring it over here and reassemble it, that could work. Their smallest plant can produce 500 Sabers a month, or 100 Jintas or 10 Vintas. The factory would need 2 million people and will cost $120 billion per month to maintain, with the cost of direct purchases at well over $10 trillion a month. Vintas are expensive to produce, the technology is extremely complex and expensive. But Roden gave me 60 Vintas with a lot more Jintas and Sabers. Andrew said. Yes, because he has well over 1,500 Vintas and you saved his life. Tom said. I could have just asked for more. And he would have agreed. Andrew said. And I thought you're a smart negotiator, Andrew. Tim kidded him. Yes, absolutely, Andrew. You have to understand the Inkey world is thousands of times your size. You only have one planet, they have 860. Tom explained. Send word out to Roden to knock down a small factory and have my remaining ships bring them over here with Inkey personnel. Andrew said. You can do that? Tim asked. I feel bad and angry because I did not ask for more. Anyway, Roden will agree. I know the guy. Besides, my plan is to leave 10 ships around Earth and 2 ships for each planet where we have a sizable presence. Maybe add 2 more for this planet. I will probably operate with 10 ships. So offhand we have enough for the moment. How about if we scale production to 20% of your numbers? Tim asked. That will still work. That's 125 sabers, or 20 jintas or 2 vintas. A mix is also good. The idea is that there is a steep learning curve. And not all the technology can be produced here. Some would come from the Macs, some from the Inkies, some from Earth. Tom explained. $2 trillion a month is still big money. Andrew commented. Let me figure this out. Olive, give me a list of items that the Inkies and Treadlemax need that we can sell to them in exchange for the items we need and how much. Tim said. I will give you the information on a tablet tonight. Olive said. Andrew added, Tom, try to get the same info for the other Mac worlds. I can give you the info tonight as well. Tom said. Can I ask you if you can give us a list of the Macs here on this planet willing to work for us? Rod asked. I can give you that information tomorrow. Olive said. Good idea, Rod. Jimmy said. What does our Latino manager say? Can we get people from their end? Danny asked. We can, but it takes time. Jimmy said. We can start our recruiting process with our military personnel and their families. Tim said. Right. In fact, I have to talk to all my officers and men in my ships, and specifically some Air Force officers coming in. Andrew said. When the other ships arrived, Andrew issued an order for all the crew to go to Earth when they dock and try to convince their immediate families to move into planet Los Angeles. He gave them specific recruiting action plan options. He also met with Phillips and her team. We have some open position for a starship captain for one of our newly acquired ships coming in a few days. The ship will be based here on this planet and I am offering it to you and your team. I checked your record, Colonel, and I believe you are good for this ship. You can name your ship whatever you like. Andrew told Phillips. We are honored to accept it, sir. She looked at Captain Hyru. We also would like to propose, sir, if we can go back to Earth and recruit some people we know specially from the Air Force. Hyru said. Yes, you may. In fact, that is the mission for all my crew, and since you accepted the job, you are now part of my crew and that is also your mission. But there is a clandestine process to follow and I want all of you and your crew to study this and not blow our cover. For the next several days the group deliberated on issues in order to make the planet as economically vibrant as possible and defining strategies to increase the population and to create trade between Earth and the Mac and Inky world. Timmy, I am leaving this afternoon for Earth. So I will just see you on Earth in a few days? Andrew asked. Yes, Andrew, Elaine will go to Earth in 3 days, I'll see you then. Back in Andrew's ship. We will reach Earth orbit in 5 hours. Olive said over the PA system. On the bridge, Andrew ordered, Gadden, Olive, I want you guys to tell all the Macs and Inkies who intend to go down to Earth to use the chameleon band. Olive, I want you to give all the visitors credit cards under the names of the crew members but designated as Armed Forces credit cards issued to military personnel on official business from the military commissary system. Tell the other ships to monitor each of the visitors to keep them out of trouble and not get hurt. A few hours later, the 8 ships were already in Earth orbit and had made contact with USSP Baker. The next day, all of its Earth crew members have gone down to Earth. The Mac and Inky crew were also going down on a rotating basis every day using the chameleon devices. Andrew and GX1 were beamed down to the president's office. The team were in their formal uniforms waiting in one of the rooms when Julia came in with Londi. Hello, you must be Andrew, I'm Julia. This is Londi. Hello, Madam Secretary. Hi, Londi. Just call me Julia. Danny and Timmy has talked about you so many times I believe I know you already. Daisy announced, the president will see us now. They all walked into the Oval Office. Hello Andrew, Tony, Ellie, Eric, Roger, and Gadden. President Albert Baker said walking towards them extending a handshake. With President was the Armed Forces Chief of Staff General Hans Mayer and Secretary of Defense Harold Hicks in the room. Albert remained standing and, I am honored to receive you guys. Daisy please. Daisy approached with some boxes. Albert started, I am promoting each of you to the next rank but I will skip the usual speech. Albert proceeded to pin the medals on each of the team members and to Gadden as well, and while doing so, GX1, you have set the bar on how off-world leaders should perform and you have performed very very well. I do not have to be specific, but I know all the things you have done for this planet and I am honored to have men and women like you to help lead the planet take the first few steps into the ocean of intergalactic existence. General Mann, as President of the U.S. I am designating you as Commander for all GX teams and Commander of the 2nd Intergalactic Armada, the first one being under General Alan Cook. You basically left with 1 ship and brought back an armada of 60 vastly more advanced ships. Albert finished pinning the last medal to Andrew, congratulations GX1. Let me get this straight, I am now a 2-star general and Tony here is a brig, right, Mr. President? Albert laughed. Look, that's all I can do. I cannot make you a 3-star and the rest 2 ranks higher. Everybody laughed. General Mayer and Secretary Hicks approached each of the team and congratulated them. Ellie, may I call you Ellie? Well, I know your father and mother very well. In fact, we've met several times when you were still in high school in California. Yes, I remember, Daddy told me about you. He also talked about the president and that you were friends since high school. Yes, we were and are still very good friends. Yes, we are, Ellie. I am particularly impressed on how you led your science team and came out with these plasma weapons that are more powerful than the Inky weapons. Albert interjected. Sir, the Inkies are not particularly weapon-centric like we are. Ellie explained. Why don't you all have a seat so we can talk more seriously about what's out there? Tell me your concerns or issues so we can address them. Albert said. Andrew answered instead, Mr. President, my mission here as well as all the men and women under my command is to recruit personnel and family members for our ships and for Planet Los Angeles. As for the civilian recruitment, I want to focus on the over 65 people who are retired, starting from the older age group to the younger ones. That's good. I know you and Timmy go way back and I also was apprised of your action plans. I am all for the economic plans, but we cannot implement them as fast as you might think. Remember, we still have this cover-up problem and this is really a drag on all our plans. Julia have been successful with the military of the UK, Canada and the French, and I believe you brought 3 ships for their first contingent. Albert said. That is correct, sir, but they would have to be taught about the new technologies. I'd say we develop an advanced training program for our future off-world commanders to take before they sit on the chair or undertake missions. I will leave 7 of the ships in Earth orbit for the purpose and to provide security for Earth. Agreed, Andrew. General Mayer, you can issue that order. The Macs have a list of the other countries' contingent personnel and their potential strengths. We can start the program broken down into major functions. Back in Planet Los Angeles at Elaine's University, they train young people to be starship officers for 4 years before they get on board. Julia said. Yes, Madam Secretary, I will do just that and I will coordinate with Mrs. Rivers. Mayer said. I would like to help General Mayer come out with the policies and action plans. Tony said, and Albert nodded. Can we now address the science issues? We need some bright people. I converted the USS Tim Rivers on Planet Los Angeles as a science ship and we need people to learn and understand the new technologies. Believe me, the learning curve is so steep we cannot learn all we have in our databanks even for 1,000 years. I have a list. Ellie said. I saw your list and some of them are from other countries. I will try to create a program to make it easier for those people to come to the US so they don't have to go through the usual channels. Julia said. I will wind down projects at NASA and all the tech programs of the government to release some smart people also. Albert said. We also need money. Lots of it. Andrew said. How much? Albert asked. Maybe at least $10 trillion a month. Andrew said. That's a lot. We cannot possibly reach that much. Albert said. It's all in the economic plans we have. Maybe not now, but towards that number. As you said, time may not be on our side, but we should try hard to make it work in the shortest possible period. Andrew said. We can start selling our fighters and fighter bombers, even some battleships, destroyers, and a carrier to other countries to raise money. Mayer said. Olive, I want to know how much we can raise if we sell 1/3 of all our military hardware to other countries. Andrew said. Olive appeared, $12.45 trillion assuming you sell the older ones. But you cannot expect to get paid on this unless you sell it to them on installment for 10 years at least, and this will generate about $200 billion a month with some interest. Albert looked at Olive. Impressive, Andrew. You know she looks like a famous actress. I can't get the name. Well, anyway, good call, Andrew. Andrew explained, the full economic plan details are on this tablet. The problem is how to carry it out as fast as we can. I would suggest the military commissary system buy these items and we sell them off-world. The money we generate we can fund all these science activities and produce our new fleet of Vintas, Jintas and Sabres. I will have you and my economic team meet at the space station about this. Daisy, make the necessary arrangements with Andrew and Dr. Blair. Albert said. Mr. President, we don't want to be a drain on the U.S. economy. Andrew said. Andrew, we have plans to expand the population by 500 million in 5 years. Julia said. How? Get all women pregnant? Andrew asked. Well, yes, that's one. We will release monetary incentives for mothers who give birth. But more than that, We intend to expand the U.S. to include new trust territories and some other nations that will not pose a security issue with us under Article 4 of the Constitution. We also have more than $5.5 trillion in the Treasury and in some CIA accounts for our off-world activities, and this is growing every day from the royalty on the sales of the fusion devices on Earth. Their introduction created so many economic activities and several products. The U.S. economy is growing by 7.5% in the last quarter and is expected to grow by at least 8% this year. Harold Hicks explained. Is that growth a lot? Andrew asked. General Man, the U.S. usually grow by up to 3 to 4% per year tops, and to grow at 8% is like impossible for a large economy. Tony explained. Where did you get the $5.5 trillion? Ellie asked. It's a long story, but we were saving the money initially to fund the fusion economy, but we were surprised that the economy reacted more favorably than we predicted, and so we never got to use the money. We can use the money in the CIA accounts to build industries off-world. Harold said. That amount will come in handy for our barter economy with the Macs and Inkies. Olive and Tom gave me a list of items the Macs in Planet Los Angeles need. We can buy these through our commissary and sell this on Planet Los Angeles in exchange for services or products we need to build the ships. I also have a list for all the other Mac planets and Inky planets, and believe me, the list is long. Andrew said. See, we have solutions drawn up already. Harold, make this barter happen. Albert said. Maybe we should talk to their leaders and make things happen at that level. Julia said. Well, yes and no. First of all, the Inkies are receptive to anything we need. Now if it was their need, then better for them. We can talk to them and they will say yes for sure and work out the barter price, say for some products we need for our ships. So the ideal situation is to bring the products to the Inky homeworld and sell it there and have the government pay for it in terms of products. Andrew said. Don't they have some form of money? Julia asked. Yes, just like we do. Everything is provided for by the state though. The citizens are paid and the money they use mostly for entertainment. All the fixed assets like houses are provided for by the state. They have large companies, maybe like corporations, a lot of cooperatives, and they have no intention to amass wealth because when they die, half if not all wealth reverts back to the state unless there are special conditions. An Inky or a Mac will not intend to become very rich, they find no reason to. Imagine this, if you live over 800 years, by the time you reach middle age or 500 years, you shall have experienced even the most mundane of things, and they have. So why would you amass wealth to be happy if there is nothing more in the world that you can buy to make you happy? Unless you're a psycho greedy. That is why we have a lot of Mac volunteers. The state pays them if they were still conscripted, but for those who have served, the Mac government also pays them a regular salary, and they save this for events like this to spend on Earth or sell in the black market. The Macs and the Inkies have almost the same economic setup. Remember, these are very rich and very large economies. They have hundreds of planets, we have only one, and not all of this one planet is our economy. Andrew explained. The barter system will work for the moment and the US will make a ton of money selling off-world. Right now, Macs and Inky visitors are buying things they do not have in their homeworld. I think I know who to approach to get this going. Ellie explained. You know, you're right, Ellie, I had Londi buy things for her and her relatives early on, and now every night she buys things. He has a luggage filled every day when we go home to Planet Los Angeles. Julia said. But I give them away as gifts to make them happy, and now I have a lot of requests when I brought home the catalogs and website pictures. Londi said. So now my account is drained. It's a good thing Danny makes good money in Los Angeles, otherwise I cannot afford my personal assistant. Julia said. I apologize, Julia, I will make them pay next time. Londi said. It's okay, Londi. I don't mind, remember what is money for? Like what Andrew said, after a while your happiness will not depend on money. Julia said. Thank you, Julia, you are generous and wise. But I will make them pay just the same. I think we have a game going on here. So now we have set the general plans. Harold, Mayor, Andrew, Julia, you carry them out. Ellie, you have a go on those on your list. I want to say this, I am proud to be your president and I am proud of each one of you. Albert said. They stood up and left the president alone in the Oval Office. Daisy, get me NASA. While walking out of the room, Olive, whispering, Andrew and Inky is on a burning building trying to save some people, he is asking for a beam out. Andrew whispering also, yes, but beam them somewhere else, not on the ships. And beam the Inky to another place. While in front of Daisy's desk, Olive, can you beam us to General Man's ship please? Ellie said. GX-1 beamed into the bridge of Andrew's ship. Okay guys, we will see each other in 2 weeks. Gadden, you want to go with me or what? Andrew asked. I'm with Tony. Gadden said. I'm going to San Diego. Roger said. I'm going to Los Angeles. Ellie said. I will go to Seattle, Eric said. Okay then, I will go to my room now. Andrew said softly.